Oklahoma. I was a little stunned by what happened to them Wednesday night. I would expect you're expecting a big rebound effort out of them.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to come in here and play really hard. They've got a very experienced team. I believe they have 5 seniors and a lot of guys that have been around, for a long time. So, they're going to come in here and really battle. They always do. The games have always been close between the two of us. And I think, again, as always, it's the most important thing for us is to focus on us and what we need to do. I've really been emphasizing to the guys the theme of one more, whether it's one more deflection, one more extra pass, one more possession where we force the other team into something that is low percentage for them, just one more. And it's amazing how much of a difference that makes when you give one more.
You spent a lot of time in the offseason hammering them about close games.
Yeah.
And here we are. You get, I think, 6 of your losses are 2 possessions or less.
Mm-hmm.
Do you bring that up again to them, or what's the difference in what?
Well, I think talking about how to finish games for sure is something that is an emphasis. Will continue to be an emphasis, and that's not necessarily just the last minute of the game, but it's when a game is close throughout. Each possession takes on unbelievable significance, and you certainly don't want to play with avoidance, not to make a mistake, but yeah. There's a ton of low-hanging fruit, for certain guys on our team individually and our team as a whole to grab hold of that affects the outcome of those close games. Spent some time with Jackson Hayes yesterday just watching tape and showing him some little things that he can grab hold of and continue to get better at. And, as you know, he's just scratching the surface. Right. But that's goes hand in hand with what I'm saying about one more. One more possession where we sustain our stance, one more time where we communicate the pick and roll coverage perfectly. Basketball is a game where you're going to make some mistakes, right. But in these very, very close games that come down to the end, it comes down to, cutting down on those.
You've been successful against Oklahoma here. There's been a lot of great players in that game. Exciting finish. Why do you think you've been able to get their number in your time here?
Our guys have done a good job finishing those games, to be honest, because like I said, they've all been close games, and every team, the Oklahoma teams, have been so unique because in the 3 years I've been here, 2 of those years they had literally the National Player of the Year, and a lot of other good players around them. But our guys did a good job finishing the game, and a lot of stuff that we're talking about down the stretch of games. I believe last year here they had a 9-point lead with 8 or 9 minutes left to go, 7 minutes left to go. So it's a matter of continuing the battle and focus on the things that go into winning that possession.
Coach, how close do you feel like your guys are to getting to that point of knowing to finish? Because they've shown they can play with anybody.
Yeah, I think it's right there, but it's something that it doesn't just happen. You have to grab hold of it as a group. And we talked about this after Kansas. You need everybody. If there's one guy that's kind of off the page or a couple guys that, are in their feelings for whatever reason, then that's not going to be good enough against the better teams in this league, particularly on the road, but even at home. And so, we haven't quite been there, but that's what it's going to take.
Looking at Jackson, I think it's easy to probably get caught up in like all the dunks and the field goal percentage and everything, but I think he's either leading the Big 12 or he's close to it in blocks.
Yep.
Has he, surprised you on that end at all? And like, where do you see him as a defender right now?
Oh man, he's done so many good things, but the exciting thing for him and for our team is he's got so much improvement that he can make. Like I said, we watched some tape together yesterday, and just him defending in a stance more consistently will make a huge difference. You mentioned blocks. He's had some phenomenal ones. But, I showed him some possessions against Texas Tech where he went for blocks that he wasn't going to get, and he took himself out of position. So that's all experience, and that's stuff that he is literally gaining day by day. And I think he's a better player now, obviously, than he was in November, and I think he'll continue improving. But, he's taken on an added role for our team relative to where he was at the beginning of the year. So it's It's one of those things where to whom much is given, much is expected. He wants that, and we need that from him.
The way that Kansas game ended could maybe lead some teams to some finger pointing or some splintering or whatever. How did the guys handle the way that ended in the following practices?
You mean the last play?
Yeah.
Our guys talked about it, and, they were very communicative with each other about it. And I don't know if you want to say finger pointing, but there was some accountability there, which is what you need on any team. And we've had some practices since then where we've practiced similar situations. We've practiced what we can do better. So certainly there was an urgency that play needed to be done better the next time. And our guys feel like they're on the same page with that. But, now it's about going and doing it in the real game. So they're on the same page. I feel like they're pretty connected on that. I don't think that, one thing with players nowadays is they know that everybody makes mistakes. But they also know that, to go win a game, as we've shown them, it takes X, Y, and Z. And so our guys understand that from the Kansas game, and now it's a matter of going and executing it, moving forward, and we need our older players to lead the way with that.
Shaka, how do you avoid that when you come out of a timeout? You have a plan devised, and everyone knows their role, so to speak. How do you avoid that pressure of not being relaxed and being in the moment, so to speak?
Yeah, I think trying the best you can to I try to repeat myself, in the timeouts, just so guys know, hey, this is what defense we're in, or this is what play we're about to run. And then, the thing that I've learned in coaching is the more simple for most groups, the better. If you had that play back, it'd be easy to say, well, just get everyone out of the way and at least, drive and try to attack. But at the same time, if you execute the play the right way, I think we'd have got to open three. So to your question, you come out of the timeout, you try to remind the guys of the most important things you talk about, and then you teach the guys as a group of five to even do one more huddle when they leave the team huddle, just the five guys on the floor, and get on the same page.
Not to beat a dead horse about this particular play, but the fact that Snoop owned it immediately afterward, and I'm sure he did what you guys did, does that make a difference in the locker room?
Yeah, I think it does. It does. It's vulnerability and honesty. Our guys really have good relationships. They get along well. When you get into tense moments on any team, I don't think there's any team out there, including the Golden State Warriors, that doesn't have some finger pointing sometimes. Sure. It's a fine line between bickering, which doesn't really do much for you, and peer accountability. Mm-hmm. Hey, you got to be in a stance. Hey, you got to sprint the floor. Like, those are things that we need on our team. So the best thing that can come out of that is our guys coming together and saying, hey, the next time we're in this situation, we need everyone, not just one particular individual. We need everyone to do exactly what they're supposed to do.
Last week, a lot of the guys talked about how much they liked your Level 5 Juice saying. What was the genesis behind that and inspiration of how you came up with it and some of the other sayings that you have for the guys?
We have a lot of themes. I mean, we have a lot of they all center around the same thing, which is just giving everything you got and playing as hard as you possibly can and giving to the team, whether it's your spirit, your passion, juice level. There's different words we use, but it all comes back to just being completely committed to the process and to your teammates. It sounds really simple, but it can be elusive for some teams and for some players, just because of the variety of factors that can swirl around their head. But when we've played that way, when we've played Level 5, we've been really, really good. And the challenge is, and I think our guys are getting to the point where they understand this, the other team could play Level 5 too, and they have good players too. So now it's going to be, even if you do all the things you should do, it's going to be a dogfight, and you have to be comfortable being a part of that and then going and making the right plays at the end of the game to take the game.
Three last ones for Coach. After losing what they did in the offseason they went to with some guys leaving their program, are you kind of surprised that Oklahoma is at where they're at right now, or are they impressing or above your standard? Or what's your take on them?
Well, first of all, they got a great coach in Lon Kruger, so you know, I'm never surprised that a team coached by Coach Kruger is doing well. Secondly, they have a lot of veterans. I mean, they have an older team. They took a couple grad transfers who are good players. They have, like I said, I believe 5 seniors and some juniors that have been around. Good players, experience, great coach. It makes sense that, you know, they're nationally ranked and they're playing well. And, you know, our job is to understand what they do well and to do everything we can to counteract that.
Coach, you talked about the guys coming together after the Kansas game, but after going through a losing streak, do you sense some frustration from them and they want to get this rolling?
Absolutely. I mean, guys want to win. I mean, it's human nature. We all want to win. And, you know, being close against really good teams, that's not really a consolation. It does tell you that you're doing some things well, and if you can improve in a few areas, you put yourself in position to win. But Saturday is just a golden opportunity for us. And we got a good team who's nationally ranked coming into our building. They're extremely good on the defensive end. We know we're going to have to be crisp in what we do, but guys are highly motivated.
Last one.
Kamaka's minutes recently have fallen off. Is that more of a matchup deal? You guys are playing a bunch of teams that use 4-guard lineups, and you know, what does he need to do to kind of take that next step?
Yeah, it is. I mean, a lot of it's about who we're playing against. Kansas, for instance, had Marcus Garrett playing the 4. He's a really good player, aggressive driver. I have a ton of belief in Kamaka and the player that we believe he's going to become. He's not all the way there yet. We want to find ways to get him in the game, depending on matchups. When he does get in the game, he needs to be aggressive. He needs to play with confidence. That's hard when you're a young player, particularly if you haven't been playing as much. It's kind of a chicken and an egg thing. But I do think he has some experience from earlier this year that he can draw on. And when he does get in the game, he can say, you know, I've done that before. And again, it's about bringing us energy, bringing us an aggressiveness on the offensive end. He moves the ball really well. But it is also about him, you know, being able to be sound out there on defense. And some of that is dependent on who the other team has on the floor.